Hello, everyone! To the honorable and benevolent, lovely speakers, two speakers from Philippines, to our very enthusiastic, supportive, and active participants, to Team IGP, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. Welcome to the Institute of Global Professionals pre-webinar. Thank you all for joining with us in this wonderful evening. And please stay with us till the end. I am your host for today's webinar and at your service. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Team IGP to be associated as a global member. I feel honored and privileged to host this webinar. And it is my delight to welcome you all to the Institute of Global Professionals free webinar. It is my humble request and please and pleasure to all of you to stay with us till the end, for I am sure you will have many takeaways and payoffs from this webinar that you can use in your professional and everyday lives. Each time, you can like and comment in the comment box section below. Don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends, your community in the comment section below. So let's watch together and learn together because we believe that power is gained by sharing knowledge. Now, every day, some new participants join with us. So let me give a little background about Institute of Global Professionals. The Institute of Global Professionals, or IGP, is an educational institution that provides social work. It serves students and community, providing holistic social work and education to create a proficient generation. IGP, or Institute of Global Professionals, is a leading online skill development with thousands of learners worldwide. Institute of Global Professionals was entrusted with international recognition. We believe that it is not effective to increase one's skills just by acquiring formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. We organize our webinar training online and offline by best and trained speakers, coaches from all over the world to create a best learning platform for all of you. Our mission is to empower people. We have already completed 236 webinars successfully. We expect that you all are getting a little bit benefited in personal and professional life, and we wish that you all are remaining with us in this long journey. Let me remind you again, don't forget to share, tag, comment, and mention your friends and community in the comment box because your attachment encourages us to do better and best service to our lovely audience. Today, we are presenting the 237th webinar, part 1 of the webinar series with the title The New Trends in Education with the topic Teaching Strategies in the New Normal. So let's start our program with IGP mantra Feed Your Skills. Let me introduce to you our first speaker from Philippines. Okay, Madam Grace Reyes Mero is a elementary teacher trainee, a graduate of Doctor of Education, major in Educational Management. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us all welcome Madam Grace Reyes Mero from Philippines. Hello, Madam Grace. The floor is yours, Madam Grace. You may now share your slides, Madam Grace.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Madam Grace, you may now share your slides or presentation. Or you would want to say
Okay.
something before you start your slides or your presentation? I mean,
There is a problem in my browser, ma'am. Okay, wait.
Hello, ma'am Grace. Then rejoin again. Rejoin
Okay.
again.
Join the.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Share your screen with your entire screen, ma'am.
I will share my screen, sir. Right.
Sorry, ma'am.
My browser has blocked my screen, sir.
Then, ma'am, rejoin. Rejoin. Leave the studio and rejoin.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Ma'am, ma'am
for
Mariam.
the meantime,
Ma'am,
yes,
and carry on.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. For the meantime, before we will, Ma'am Grace, we'll check on the internet. Sorry again, dear participants, for the small glitches that we are having. Okay. So our internet connection, the internet connection with the Mom Grace area may be unstable. Okay, again, dear participants, I would like to remind you again. So please don't forget to share and comment the name, share this video to your friends and in your community. Comment and mention your friends in the comment section below so they too can have the knowledge that we are gaining from this webinar. Okay, I think Ma'am Grace is back now. Yes, Ma'am Grace, open your presentation and share.
Oh, no.
Okay. Maybe Madam Grace is having some technical problems on her part. Please bear with us again, dear participants. Okay, after Ma'am Grace. Okay. Yes, Ma'am Grace. Is your presentation open now?
Okay.
Yes. Is it
Can you see
open
my
now, Madam
presentation,
Grace?
ma'am?
Not
Can you
yet.
see my
Yeah.
presentation?
Okay. Yes,
Okay, sorry
ma'am.
for the
Clear.
Okay, sorry for the technical problem. Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Armero. Okay, Ma'am Anne, can I start? Hello.
Floor is yours, madam.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, madam. Loud and clear, madam.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Armero. For tonight's discussion, we will talk about technical specification of ADM modules. Okay. Oh no, what happened? Okay. Prior to the implementation of the K-12 curriculum, Learning resources for various ADMs, such as modules, have been developed and were proven effective as shown by various past evaluations. Furthermore, considering our fast-changing society, the ADM learning resources must help students acquire the needed 21st century skills. For these reasons, redeveloped learning resources for ADM are necessary. The learning resources for the K-12 program are also used for ADMs. However, one feature of ADM is flexible learning, which allows the learners to learn by considering their convenience for the time and or location. Hence, learning resources, although aligned to the curriculum, must be designed in order to meet the needs and circumstances of learners. ADMs may require learning resources that are designed for independent or self-paced study. In view of this, a module is considered an appropriate learning resource for ADM learners. So what is a module? A module is a type of learning resource that is essentially self-contained, self-instructional package with learning paced by the student according to his or her individual needs and ability. That is according to Ali, 2010. So who are the target learners of ADM? Specifically, the target learners of ADMs are the following: late enrollees, working students, overage learners, marginalized learners, learners with poor medical condition, learners whose residence is far from the school, victims from natural calamities and armed conflict, learners who need to take care of the siblings and do other household chores, learners who are on difficult circumstances, for example, early pregnancy with family problems, and lastly, learners who are affected by class suspensions because of natural hazard and or national or local celebrations. So what are the purpose of the ADM learning resources standards? To provide public schools and learning centers, especially teachers and learners, with diverse quality, accessible, cost-effective, and appropriate learning resources to have effective and efficient learning outcomes. DepEd establishes the following standards on managing and developing ADM learning resources. Aside from that, this will be the guide in developing learning resources such as modules. With these standards, all types of learners shall have access to learning opportunities with appropriate learning resources that are friendly and flexible. So what are the standard specification on developing ADM modules? So we have here the technical specification of ADM modules as prescribed by the Department of Education. So we have here the page set, design, and layout. As you can see, we have the grade level, paper size, orientation, margin, and the format. So we have the kindergarten. You're going to use the A4 size paper, and the orientation is landscape. For the margin, from top, bottom, inside, and outside, you're going to use 1 inch. And then for format is mirror margins. And then for the grades 1 to 12, you're going to use also A4 size paper. And then the orientation is portrait. And then the margin is same as the kindergarten. And of course, for the format, same as from the kindergarten, which is mirror margins. You're going to use mirror margins because it is just like for our books and then magazine, double-sided document. That is why they are going to use the mirror margins. Next, we have the front outside cover. For front outside cover, the entries are resource title, learning area, quarter and module number, and the module title. And then we have the font type. For kindergarten to grade 3, they are going to use the alphabeto, and then bold, and then the font size is 35 to 45 points for learning area, and then the text is 10 points bigger. The position for resource title, it is aligned at the center top of the cover, below the grade level identifier. quarter number entry can be removed for the resource title of SLMS or the self-learning modules that can be used in any quarter of the school year. For example, TLE, TVL, and then SHS or the senior high school. So another entry is the grade level identifier for the kinder to grade 10. For kindergarten, the grade level identifier is letter K. And then for grades 1 to 6 is Hindu-Arabic number. For the font type, they are going to use the Arial, boldface, and then the font size is 70 points. The position of the grade level identifier, it should be at the top left hand of the cover. And then the box size is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches with rounded corners. And then the box border is 2 points. Background color, it is based on the assigned color per learning area. And then the font color is black or white. For TLE grade 7 to 10, you're going to use two numbers and can be placed for SLMS that can be used into grade levels. For example, exploratory for grade 7 or 8. For senior high school, you're going to use Arial for font type, boldface, and then the size is 16 points. The position of the grade level identifier for senior high school is on the top left-hand part of the cover. And then the box size is 3 inches by 0.5 inches with rounded corners. And then the background color is black. And then the font color is white. And then we have another entry, which is the violator box. The position of the violator box is rotated negative 45 degrees at the bottom, right-hand corner. And then the box size is 5 inches by 0.75 inches. And then the box border is two-lined border. So aside from the violator box, we have the line 1, which is government property in English version, and Filipino version is pagmamayari ng or pag-aari ng pamahalaan. The font type is Arial, and then the font size is 11 points. So we have other details. The position of the violator text line 1 is rotated 45 degrees aligned in the center of the violator box. And then we have the violator text line 2, not for sale, for English version, and then Filipino version, hindi ipinagbibili. And then the font type is Arial, all caps, boldface, and then the font size is 18 points. The position is rotated 45 degrees aligned in the center of the violator box. So another entry, we have the cover art photo. The position is at the center of the cover page. If you're going to make our cover art photo, we are going to use simple art photo for our cover. And then we have resource identifier or the ADM logo. The position is center of the cover page after the cover art. And then we have the DepEd logo identifier. The position is on the top right-hand corner. The logo size is 1.5 inches by 0.75 inches. And then the SLM code. The font type is Arial, font size 11 points. The position is bottom left-hand part of the cover. So we have here an example. Okay. Number 7 is the grade level identifier. And then we have the logo, the DepEd logo. Next, we have the resource title. Under resource title, it includes the learning area, which is music, and then the quarter number, quarter 1, and then the module number, and then the title. So we have here the ADM cover art. If you're going to make your own cover art, it should be original and simple. And then we have the ADM logo, and then the violator. And then in this side is the SLM code. For the background of the grade level identifier, okay, we have red, green, and blue RGB values used for computer monitor display for layouting. And then the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black for percentage used for printing. So as you can see, we have the learning area and then the color for each learning area. For English, we have the light blue color. And then the Filipino, dark blue, science, orange, mathematics, green, araling panlipunan, red, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, brown, music, arts, PE and health or MAPE, yellow, mother tongue, white, edukasyon, pantahanan at pangkabuhayan or the TLV, violet, and then kindergarten, pink, and then for senior high school is black. So as you can see, we have here grade 2, the grade level identifier is number 2, and then the background is yellow. It means this is music or art or PE and health for grade 2. And then we have 4, brown. The color is brown or edukasyon sa pagpapakatao for grade 4. And then this one is for kindergarten. And then araling panlipunan for grade 8 and then English for grade 10. And then we have senior high school. The background is black for senior high school. Okay, we have another page. We have the copyright page. The entries for copyright page is resource title. Under resource title, we have the learning area and then the grade level, alternative delivery mode, and then quarter or number module, module title, edition number, and the production year. The font style is Arial, boldface, and then the font size is 11. The position of the resource title is placed at the first 4 lines of the page. And then we have the copyright notice. Font style is Arial, same as the resource title, 11 points. And then the position of this copyright notice is placed after the resource title. The alignment is justified. Copyright notice text prescribed by the Bureau of Learning Resource or BLR is included in the SLM template. The publishing office with names of the department secretary and the under secretary for curriculum and instruction. The font style is Arial, and then the font size is 11 points. The position is placed after the copyright notice. And then another entry is the development team members. The font style is Arial, and the font size is 10 to 11 points. The position of these development team members is placed after the publishing office. Box size 6.2 inches by 2 inches. The box border is 1 point. So only the name of the development team members should be included to maximize the limited space provided in the box. Another entry for the copyright page is the printing office. We're going to use Arial, boldface, and then the font size is 11 points. The position is placed after the development team box. And then we have the contact details of the regional management team. Font type is Arial, and then the font size is 11 points. The position of these contact details is placed after the printing office. So we have here an example. Arts grade 10 for the resource title. Then we have the alternative delivery mode, quarter 1, module 1, and then title, and then the year of publication. We have the copyright notice, and then we have the publishing office with the names of the DepEd secretary and the undersecretary for curriculum and instruction. And then we have the development team members. Just write the names of the team members, the writers, editors, reviewers, illustrator, layout artist, management team, and we have to include the printing office and then the contact details of the regional management team. Okay, we have the title page. Title page served as the first preliminary page of the learning resource with no page number. The entries for this title page are resource title. Under resource title, we have learning area, quarter and module number, and then the module title. For font type, font size, and other details, Format of the resource title follows the same format used in the cover. The grade level identifier for kindergarten to grade 10, as I said a while ago, K for kindergarten, and then for grades 1 to 10, Hindu-Arabic number. Then the font type, Arial, boldface, then font size 70 points, and then the position of this grade level identifier is on the top right hand part of the cover. And then the font color is black. Okay. For grade level identifier for senior high school, font type is Arial boldface, and then font size is 16 points. The position of this grade level for senior high school is top right hand part of the cover. Font color is black, and then we also need to include the DepEd logo identifier. The position is at the bottom center part of the page. The logo size is 1.5 inches by 0.75 inches. So we have here an example. 4 for grade level. Resource title, Science. Quarter number, quarter 2. Module number, module 8. And then the module title is Effects of Interaction. And then we have the DepEd logo identifier. Next, we have the introductory message or paunang salita. Introductory message contains the overview of the module. And of course, it includes the instructions about the modules in order for the students to answer the following exercises in the module. So next we have the topography. As you can see, we have the grade level, recommended font family, and then the font size, and then alignment and line spacing. As you can see, each grade level have recommended font family and the font size. For kinder to grade 2 and grade 3, they are going to use alphabeto or the Century Gothic. And then for the body text, 16 points for grade 2 and grade 1, kinder and grade 2. And then for grade 3, the body text is 14 points. For head section, body element, 22 points, bold, italic. And for subheads, 18 points, bold. And then the alignment is flush left, rage right. And then line spacing is 1 to 1.15. For grades 4, 5, and grade 12, the recommended font family is Bookman Old Style. And then the body text is 14 points, 11 points, and then for head section and body element, we have 18 points, bold, italic. And then subheads, 14 points, bold. And then the alignment is justified. For line spacing is same as for kindergarten to grade 2, 1 to 1.15. So we have the body matters. For body matters, we are going to include the lesson header, the number of the lesson, and then the body text, the section header, notes to the teacher, visuals, and then the images, and then the page number at the center, and then the SLM code. So we have here an example, what I need to know, or the alamin. The alamin or what I need to know section starts on page 1, right side page of a spread. The SLM code for the body matter is the same as the code on the cover. It should be placed at the bottom right part of the page aligned with the page number in the footer. So we have here an example. Next, we have the lesson title. The lesson title must be placed after subukin or what I know, and above balikan or what's in. The format of the lesson title heading should follow the lesson header style prescribed in the SLM template. Another body matters is the body text, images, and tables. All contents of the body matter should be laid out using A4 size paper and should be properly placed within the set margin, which is 1 inch by 1 inch. There should be enough space between words, lines, text, and visuals. Table, titles, caption, and citations should use in graphics. Visuals, tables, and text should be placed on the same page. So we have numbered and bulleted list. Items in a list should be properly aligned and indented using the auto number feature of MS Word properly. Properly aligns the number bullets and its text. Okay, another specification is the element icon. As you can see, we have the elements, the label in module for English version, and then label in module for Filipino version, and then the assigned icon for each grade level. So we have the introduction, pre-assessment, review, activity 1, discussion, enrichment activities, generalization, application, post-assessment, additional activities, and then answer key and the references. This will be the guide of the students if they are going to answer their module. Other body text as specifications, no page number for the copyright page. Leading space, multiple, 1.15 points. Subheads for activity title, 18 points before, 8 points after. Space between an element title and element ending, 2 spaces or double. Paragraph endings, there should be no one word or half a word at the last line of a paragraph. Pages should not end with a hyphenated word, just like in our example. A maximum of 3 consecutive hyphenated words are allowed in a paragraph. Okay, pages should not have bad breaks which affect readability. For example, particularly if you publish reference books, histories, critical part of their markets. So this is an example. Orphan and the Widow. These are example of short lines in which it affects the readability of the learner. Use boldface for foreign words or technical terms, being defined only at the first mention. Set these words in regular format for the rest of the times they are used. Black matter, susi sa pagwawasto or answer key. Sanggunian, references, back outside, cover. Answer key. Answer key contains answers to all the activities. Key to corrections shall be written upside down in font size 9. Font style depends on the body text. For references, we have to include all the third-party materials or sources in developing the material. Font shall depend on the body text format of the module. Follows the Chicago Manual of Styles. So, for author date in text citations, we have type of citation, author cited in text, and then the parenthetical format. For example, one work by one author. We have Poland 2006 has argued this point. Greenberg 2008 stated that in parenthetical format, we are going to write Poland and then the year of publication and then the open and close parentheses, same as this Greenberg. And then we have one work by 2 authors, one work by 3 authors, and then one work by 4, and then the direct quotations. To cite multiple sources in the same parenthetical reference, separate the citations by a semicolon, just like in our example. If we use books for our reference, we have to include the bibliographic entry, the last name and first name of the author, title of book, subtitle of book, edition, edited, translated by the first name, last name, place of publication, publisher, and the year of publication. And then if you use ebooks, don't forget also the bibliographic entry, the name of the author, the Chicago Guide to Face Checking, and then the URL or the bibliography. Don't forget to include that. And then we have the website, blogs, and social media, no name, author, owner or sponsor of website, title of web page or description of web page, title or description of the site as a whole, updated, last modified, access date, and the URL. If you use website, blogs, and social media named author for your reference, just write the last name, first name of the author, and then the title of web page or description of web page, title or description of the site as a whole, owner or sponsor of the site, updated, last modified, access date, and the URL. And then we have the link to Chicago Manual of Style 17th edition. So you can use this link. Okay, another page, the back outside cover. Under back outside cover, we have this feedback note box. The position for feedback note box is placed at the bottom center of the back cover. The back size is 6 inches by 2.5 inches. The box with rounded corners, box border is 1 point. Feedback note is included also in our feedback note box. It is placed at the first line inside the feedback box. For inquiries or feedback, please write or call for English version. For Filipino version, para sa mga katanungan or puna, sumulat o tumawag. Feedback note information details. As you can see, we have here an example. Contact details of the Bureau of Learning Resources is also included. The address, the telephone number, the telefax number, and then the email address. And then we have the illustration layout. For illustration layout, visuals should enhance, complement, and facilitate understanding of content. They should be appropriate, relevant, and original, clear in content, detailed, and proportionately drawn. In high resolution with uniform and solid black ink lines and facing the gutter or center of a page. Copyrighted illustrations from other sources, if any, should have permission and properly cited or attributed. Colored visuals should be appropriate and relevant to the content or competency. Visuals that require labels should be correctly labeled or captioned. Call-out lines set in black color and 1 point thinner than the illustration. It should be placed around the illustration. Sans serif fonts should be used for labels and captions. Labels must be placed alongside near the call-out lines. Visuals of a process involving separate steps or actions should be consistent and should have individual pictures or frames. Okay, this discussion are lifted from Alternative Delivery Mode Learning Resource Standards as of May 8, 2020 and updated last July 5, 2021, Technical Specification for the Self-Learning Modules or SLMS. Okay, before I end my discussion, I would like to thank IGP for giving us the opportunity to present our topics in this webinar. And of course, thank you to all participants in supporting and joining this webinar. Thank you and good evening.
Yes, thank you, Madam Grace R. Merrow, for that very
Um,
informative discussion. Okay, for the knowledge of all the participants, what Madam Grace shared to us is the format in preparing self-learning modules in the Philippine setting. Now, I know there are some of our participants came from other countries, so I maybe they were They were thinking, what was that? Okay, that is the what we apply here in the Philippines in preparing self-learning modules, the modules that have been used by the students during this time of pandemic. Okay, with that, Madam Grace, thank you so much again. We will
Okay, thank
get
you,
back
ma'am.
to you, okay, on the question and answer portion.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dear
Thank
participants
you, ma'am.
again. Yes, ma'am. Okay, dear participants again, I would like to remind everyone yes, to share this video to your friends and community. Okay, mention their names on the comment box so they too can gain knowledge on the topics that our speakers are sharing with us. So now let's proceed to our second guest speaker for tonight's webinar. Okay, let me introduce Madam Julian M. Villanueva from Philippines. Madam Julianne Villanueva is a Master of Arts in Language Teaching and is currently an English teacher of Lipan National High School. Just recently, she had shared inputs in the academic community as the Vision Achievement Test and Learning Activity Sheet Writer, Regional CAT LRE Module Writer, and National AGM Module Writer. She also served as a resource speaker of various training workshops in module writing in the division up to the national level and was also designated as one of the regional evaluators of self-learning modules in senior high school. Moreover, she became a teacher broadcaster of the division-initiated Sambahenyo TV program. Last 2019, she also earned a recognition as the second division outstanding reading teacher for Key Stage 3. At present, she is a member of the School Division Research Support Team. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Madam Julianne M. Villanueva from Philippines. Madam Julie.
Good day, everyone. Ma'am Anne, can you hear me clearly po?
Yes, ma'am. The floor is yours, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. So allow me to share my screen. Okay, there you have it, Ma'am Anne. Can you already see my presentation? Okay, so that's it. Thank you, Ma'am Anne. Okay, so good day, everyone, and good morning, good evening, good day, everyone. Most especially to my fellow educators all around the world who are now watching worldwide, and to my fellow Filipino educators, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. That means good evening to all of you. I am Julian M. Villanueva from Lipay National High School, Santa Cruz, Zambales, Philippines. All right, so first of all, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude to the Institute of Global Professionals for giving me such opportunity to share my learnings when it comes to radio based instruction. And today is the first day of the month, and it's really a grateful experience for us all to be in. To get to know the different strategies in teaching under the new normal. And also at the same time, on my part, it is also a very humbling experience to share to all of you, my fellow educators, some of my learnings when it comes to the delivery of radio based instruction, which we all know here in the Philippines is one of the learning modalities that we are implementing under the distance learning. And so that's it for radio based instruction, or also known as School on the Air or the SOA. So allow me to share to you our session objectives. Okay, for our session objectives, towards the end of this session, you, my fellow teachers, are expected to first discuss the importance of learning skills in broadcast speech and performance for school on the air, or the radio based instruction, as commonly known, RBI. Also, to describe the principles of radio script writing, particularly for an RBI or SOA program, which we will know later on as we go on with the presentation. So, in this session, we will have three parts. I will be discussing first about the speech and performance. That will be the first part, and then on the second part, I will go on to some of the basic principles, the fundamentals of script writing. And then towards the end, I'll present an example of a 30-minute radio based instruction format. And we could finish that in an hour or even less. Okay. All right, so let's begin with the first part, the speech and performance. All right, so radio has already been part of our household. I don't know what year it started, but it's already been a staple part of our household, the radio, because it's a kind of communication medium. But then radio actually lacks visual stimulus, right? Okay. When we say visual stimulus, because radio actually lacks visual images, it doesn't have any visual images or moving pictures, rather. So it cannot add up to the interest of the audience because of lack of visual stimulus that it could have. It doesn't have any moving images or pictures. That is why for the radio, also, it's also considered as inexorable or ephemeral. When we say inexorable or ephemeral, it cannot be stopped. You cannot rewind it at the same time, right? Because the only thing that you could hear on the radio is your voice as the radio announcer or radio teacher, and then your sound effects, and then that's it. You're just in the background. But it's inexorable. You cannot stop it, and it's ephemeral. You cannot rewind it because it's only intended for a short period of time, right? So the tendency is, since it's inexorable and ephemeral, the audience are could be easily bored or often distracted because radio is considered a companion medium. You can easily place it anywhere in your house and you could listen while you are also doing something simultaneously at the same time. That is why the tendency, one of its cons, radio can make the audience easily bored or often distracted. That is why our target as a radio teacher is to make sure that our message or our content should would be clearly understood by our audience, and in this case it would be our learners. That is our challenge for them, to make sure for us to make sure that they will tune in to our program from the beginning up to the end of our discussion, of our delivery of the radio based instruction. Okay. Now, for keys to have a pleasing voice, remember, if we are going to apply for a certain job, our employer would ask us to have a pleasing personality. But on this case, on radio based instruction, it is important for us to have a pleasing voice. But on top of that, I would like to debunk that idea or that myth that in order for you to qualify as a radio teacher, you need to be sounding like a professional radio broadcaster or a TV broadcaster, right? Well, in this case, all of us actually, regardless of our key stage to where we belong, regardless of our specialization, okay, all of us could qualify to be a radio teacher as long as we will have this pleasing voice and our good speaking voice. Now, what are those pleasing keys, or to have keys to have a pleasing voice? First is we need to have a proper voice placement or quality. And when we say proper voice placement or quality, I'm referring here, for example, is the diaphragmatic quality of our voice, because that is the most preferred quality of voice that we should have as a radio teacher, the diaphragmatic type of voice. We can actually achieve that whenever we are lying down. Try to lie down, and once you speak while you are lying down, that's the diaphragmatic quality of voice. Usually that's the way of achieving it. But as a radio teacher, we can also achieve it with, for example, with use of proper breathing or proper breath control, breathing in and breathing out, and also through the application of proper posture. While you are recording a radio based instruction, you can either stand or sit, depending on your director, depending on your mentor. It's up to you. But you have to make sure that whatever posture you are, whether you are standing or sitting, you have to make sure that it would be proper posture. You should be standing properly or sitting properly in order not to block your passageway or your airway. Okay. And then also another thing that we should consider, please bear with me if you could hear some external noises in the background. I cannot control that. Well, anyway, allow me to continue. Also, another thing about in order for us to have a pleasing voice is to have proper articulation. And when we say proper articulation, this is the proper use of our articulators, such as our tongue, our lips, our teeth, our palate. And that is the proper pronunciation or enunciation of our vowels and consonants. Then, also, another key to have a pleasing voice is for the projection and delivery. Yes, there are people who are naturally, innately born to have really a pleasing voice, sounding like a professional radio broadcaster, and I commend you for that. Well, if you already have that voice, still you should be able to observe proper projection and delivery. That's very important, along with other tips that I have shared to you, such as proper breathing, proper posture, proper articulation in the projection and delivery. Okay, now for the characteristics of a good speaking voice, we have five here. I have included here in the presentation five characteristics of a good speaking voice. The first one is the use of varied inflections or intonation. When we say intonation, these are falling, rising, or complex intonation. And you can say that you have a good speaking voice if you can make your voice varied. You can change it from falling, then rising, and then complex, or the combination of the falling and rising, but not monotonous. When we say monotonous, this is a type of intonation wherein you don't observe any falling or rising intonation. You're simply a flat tone speaking person that's being monotonous. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Since I cannot um I cannot invite you to be interactive with me at this point, so allow me to give an example of this. For example, the statement, what is the answer to that question? Well, let's try to vary that statement using different intonations. We may say, what is the answer to that question? Or we could also change some of parts of the sentences, some intonation of that parts of that sentence. We could say, what is the answer to that question? So we could vary the intonation by simply varying the intonation of the different parts of the sentence. We could actually make a different meaning that we could give to our learners. The second one is the wide range of pitch. When we say wide range of pitch, I'm referring here to your modulated pitch, your optimum or potential pitch. We can achieve this modulated pitch if we can make our voices flexible. If we can make it two pitch higher or two pitch lower, then that if you can already achieve that, then that means that you are already on your modulated or your optimum or potential pitch. Okay. For example, I have here another statement. New experiences are what we bring through fun and meaningful learning. It's a very simple statement, yet you can actually play with it and show the different pitches that you want to your learners. Okay. So the third one is the different degrees of loudness. Another characteristic of a good speaking voice is the different degrees of loudness. Okay. Now in this case, as a radio teacher, you have to make sure that you are not loud enough, that you are just loud enough without shouting. You're also soft enough to be heard, and your voice should be well projected without straining the throat muscles. The tendency is if your voice is too loud for your learners, they will simply tune out of your program, and we don't want that to happen. As a radio teacher, we want to make sure that our learners would tune into our program from the beginning up until the end of our program. Not also soft enough that our technical team would have a hard time editing it because your voice is really soft enough. Well, just enough loudness without straining your throat muscles, right? So you have to sustain your volume from the beginning up until the end of your program. Example, I have here an example of a statement. For example, listen to me. That's just soft enough. But if I will make it louder by saying, listen to me, well, that would make a difference on the meaning of what I'm trying to say, right? By just simply making a difference on the loudness, it could change the meaning of what I'm trying to say. The next one is the use of appropriate pauses. Here in the appropriate pauses, the proper pausing and proper pacing should be observed because there's a need to have a smooth delivery without hesitancies. The speaker or the radio teacher should not be too fast nor too slow. Pauses should be appropriately placed for emphasis. For example, you want to emphasize a particular part of your script, of your delivery, then you could make pauses onto that just to give emphasis. And also, it's also important that proper pausing should be observed in order for the learners to effectively absorb what you're trying to tell them. Okay, one of the things that our previous speaker mentioned before is that as a radio teacher, you should speak low and slow. Okay, not too slow, but just enough type of voice in order for your learners to understand. Okay, so example of a statement. So at this point, I want you to get your hand out for we will start our lesson about verbals, right? So we practice being not too fast nor too slow. We should practice proper pauses for emphasis. For the fifth one is the use of pleasant qualities. So our voice should not be not hoarse nor whispery, not nasal or stuffy sounding. When we say hoarse, it's like your voice is already tired. It's as if how should I this? In Filipino we call this as garalgal, right? Okay, and not too whispery that your learners would not be able to understand what you're trying to say. Not nasal in a way that I think something is on inside your nose. Not stuffy sounding. Not screechy. When we say not screechy, it's the type of voice that is too thin. That's why the tendency is it could actually make your audience don't have a bad experience onto listening to you, and not too husky as well. Well, we have to make sure that we will have a pleasant quality, because if we won't have a pleasant quality of voice, the tendency is your learners will just be focusing on the quality of your voice and not on the content, and we want to avoid that. They will focus on your the quality of your voice in a negative way. Okay, so we want to make sure that our learners would listen to us not just on the quality of our voice, but they will also understand what we are trying to convey, and that is our lesson as a radio teacher. Okay, for example, I have here a statement. Good day, grade 8 learners. Welcome to another day of learning. So that's a very simple example of producing a pleasant quality of voice. No. Now, for us to be an effective school on the air or radio based instruction teacher, first, we have to imbibe a character according to the personality given to the script. And we should be consistent with that. Okay. For example, you want to sound, as a radio teacher, you want to sound as if you're just like a big sister or big brother to your learners or to your audience. Then you have to make sure that you will have that personality from the beginning until the end of your program. You should be consistent. Okay. Consistency is one of the keys. Next is to speak low, not too slow, just enough to give emphasis on what you are trying to say to your learners. And the next one is to differentiate from normal speaking voice. That's what we call vocal variety. For example, right now you can hear my normal speaking voice, but you can actually differentiate it from it. I can actually make a difference from it depending on what is needed by the script, and also to project accordingly. And also, the next key or tip in being an effective SOA or RBI teacher is to be able to connect with your students or feel their presence. So, as an RBI teacher, as a radio teacher, yes, they could only hear you in the background with just your voice and then some sound effects, and then they don't see you physically, but then you have to make sure that as a radio teacher they will feel your presence despite of your physical absence. They would be able to connect with you of what you're trying to tell to them. And also, as an effective RBI teacher, you have to exert an effort to really sound happy. That's why it's also important to set your mood prior to your recording of your radio based instruction, because it's really important, because what you will tell in that recording of your RBI would reflect on their learnings, right? So you have to exert an effort to really sound happy and for them to relate to you. Happy in a way that it would be a happy learning experience for them, that their 30 minutes, for example, of time allotment for you would not be put in vain, and they would be able to relate on what you're trying to tell them. as learners. So that's it. That's being effective and effective school on the air or radio based instruction teacher. And now let's have the second part of this session, which is the basic principles of radio script writing. Okay. The first one is to be brief. Okay. Whenever you write a script for your radio based instruction, you have to make sure that it's brief. For example, broadcasting is constrained by time, right? For example, in radio news, it's just 60 seconds, right? But on the case of this radio based instruction, we have at least a maximum of 30 minutes that is suggested by the experts. 30 minutes is the maximum. And it still depends on the level of the type of learners that you have, your target learners, your target audience. But it's one thing is for sure, it's constrained by time. So you have to make sure that it's brief. Now, how can we achieve briefness in our script? First, next one is to be personalized. You personalize your script. You gather all the information about your audience. Then you have to familiarize yourselves with the type of audience you have. Who are your audience? Who is your audience in this lesson? What type of learners are they? Are they still playful? Are they the type of kinesthetic learners? So you have to get yourselves familiar with them. You have to familiarize yourselves to them in order for you to adjust the style, language, and content of your writing to your intended audience. Right? So once you are already familiar with the type of audience to have, then you have to make sure that your style, the language that you will use, and the content of your writing will be suited for them. It would be tailored fit to them. Examples are your mother, farmers, and children. Okay. Next one is to be clear and concise. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell a while ago. So we have to be brief in writing our script. And one step to that is to be clear and concise. Now, in being clear or clarity, we should choose simple words. Let's avoid a long word if a short word will do. For example, once a week, instead of using once a week, you could simply tell weekly. Or, for example, give testimony, then you can simply tell testify. Another tip into making sure that we will only use simple words is to use contractions. For example, instead of cannot, you may use can't. For example, will not, won't, do not, don't. Examples. Those are contractions. Now, why do we need to use contractions whenever we write scripts, for example, for radio based instruction? Well, it is to make sure that the tone that you will be using within your script is just natural, it's more on conversational. That's why we use contractions, because we want our learners to be able to connect with us, to relate with what we are trying to tell to them. Now, let's also be careful in using those contractions because in some parts of our lesson wherein we need to give an emphasis, then contractions are not suggested. Okay? If we want to emphasize, for example, an important concept in our script, in our lesson, then contractions is not the use of contractions is not advisable. But in most part of your script, then contractions is a very good strategy to make your students more connected to you, and it could be more natural and more conversational. For the concise, how can we practice or observe conciseness in our script? You have to make sure that every word that you use in your script, in your delivery, must have a purpose for being there. Okay? So you should also be concrete. Avoid vague and abstract words or so highfalutin words or highly technical terms because we have to consider that we are writing for the ear. Okay? We are not simply speaking to them. We are not just simply reading our script. They are listening to it because that is their lesson or that is the competency or objective intended for them. So you may use tangible images because as a radio teacher, you have to observe, you have to make sure that your learners will be imaginative because they could only hear your voice as a background. So you have to make sure that they will be imaginative with what you are trying to tell them, since this would be an instruction, this would be a delivery of your lesson. So you may use tangible images such as, for example, 4-story building, or another example, 200-pound woman. So those are tangible words, tangible images. But you also be careful as a radio teacher not to lose any airtime within your delivery. Okay. Now, next is be informal and conversational. Speak to the audience, not read to them. I've mentioned this a while back. So you have to observe you're being informal and conversational in a way, again, that they would feel connected and related to you, because they will not see you physically, you are absent physically, but using your voice, it would command respect to them as a teacher, but at the same time, they would be able to connect and relate with the message that you are trying to convey to them. Also, you involve the listeners, talk to them in a normal conversation. It's for them also to be more comfortable into listening to you, because if you would be so formal into your delivery of your radio based instruction, they might be intimidated into listening to you, or they might just tune out of your program, and we don't want that to happen. And also, again, I've mentioned this: write for the ear and not for reading. Again, be clear, be concise, be concrete, be precise. So some of the things that you could use or insert within your radio-based instruction that differentiates it from the self-learning module is that you could insert statements such as how are you? How are you today? How do you feel? Have you eaten already? I hope you already did, because that would help you understand our lesson for today. So those types of statement, those are only examples that you can insert within the instruction, within the delivery of your RBI. And now for the School on the Air or RBI format, I have here an example of School on the Air for a 30-minute lesson. Now, you might be wondering, why did I only have here 30 minutes? I've mentioned this a while back, that this is the most preferred maximum length of time in producing a School on the Air or radio based instruction. 30 minutes, right? Because based on researches of the different persons before, 30 minutes is only the advisable time that the learners would listen to you, because we have to consider their psychology, the psychology of our learners. We have to consider their attention span, right? And anything beyond 30 minutes, you cannot have any assurance that they would still listen to you. Okay, so 30 minutes or even less is the most advisable length of time. Now, here are the different parts. So we have program or opening intro. So that is our opening billboard. That is the program ID, wherein you introduce the program that you have as a radio teacher. You will introduce your station ID, for example, if you have. So an example of that is, in our case, last time we conducted a school-based session in our school about radio-based instruction, and we came up with an example of program ID. So allow me to read it for you. Example here is bringing the best education while having fun. Listen, study, and learn. Here at Lipay National High School, you are the star. This is DZ115, Lipayan School on the Air, a member of KBP, Kapisanan ng Broadcaster ng Pilipinas. So that's an example of a program ID. You, my fellow educators, I believe, are more creative than that, and you could come up with hundreds and thousands of examples of program ID for your own radio based instruction in your own school. And an example of that, you could have that for 1 minute. And then after that, you insert music. It's very important that you insert music in between parts of your lesson, because having a dead air is a mortal sin in radio broadcasting or even in radio based instruction. So music should be readily available, and you could have it fade up and then fade under in order to avoid having a dead air. So whenever you are speaking, you have to make sure that there is still a background music. Okay. Next part is the feedback portion. Now, the feedback portion is an essential aspect of school on the air or the radio based instruction, because this part allows the teacher to assess whether the radio based instruction or the radio lesson that he or she has shared in the previous lesson is effective. It allows also the learners to tell to the radio teacher whether they have really understood the lesson. So those are the feedback mechanisms in this feedback portion. It could be through letter, could either be through text messaging or even online platforms if you use that in your school. That's feedback portion. Then after that, you can have a review of the previous lesson. And this part, it is also very important, because in the review of the previous lesson, you are allowing your learners to have a recapitulation of the previous concepts you have presented in your previous lesson. At the same time, it is also a way of checking whether they have really understood the previous lesson. The learners may also check their work, and it's also in this part where you can establish a connection of the previous lesson and your current lesson that you will introduce within that day. Okay, the next part is the musical break. Example, it could be for around 2 to 3 minutes. This is also important because you are also considering the mental health of your learners. Because if you will continuously bombard them with different concepts, then they might just tune out of the program, and that is something that we should avoid as a radio teacher. Now, in this musical break, we could play some music that is being requested by your learners. You could also insert some infomercial or the informative commercial that is effective, timely, and relevant nowadays. For example, about the battle that we have against COVID-19 pandemic. We could do that within that musical break. And then after having the musical break, you could now proceed to your lecture proper or lesson proper for the day, and you could have it for 10 minutes. Now, if you would ask me, Ma'am, what if, for example, my lesson would not fit within 10 minutes? What if it's a kind of objective or competency that is intended for 1 week? Then you, as a radio teacher, should be creative enough or innovative enough to break down your topics into different episodes to make sure, just to make sure that everything would be suited for the 30-minute lesson, to be fitted in the 30-minute lesson. So you could divide it, and then, for example, you weren't able to finish that competency within this 30 minute of airing, they can have it on another episode. You could do that. Because nothing, again, anything beyond 30 minutes, according to the researchers, would not be already be effective for our learners. And then the next one is the brief review of the day's lesson. But before that, again, you could insert some musical breaks or some infomercials as some announcements if you have, based from announcements from in your school, for example, and then a brief review, a brief recap of your day's lesson, just to reinforce or strengthen what you have taught to them in the previous 10 minutes of your airing. And then after the brief review, within that brief review, you could also give them some activities, some short activities, to make sure that they have really learned something into your lecture, also your way of assessing them. And after that, announcement or reminders could also be done. Again, you could have some infomercials or announcements of your school principal, for example, or of your class as an advisor or subject teacher. And then after that is your closing billboard or the extra now. So that's it for a 30-minute lesson. Now, just to give you some tip, my fellow teachers, it is advisable within this 30-minute lesson that you will have at least two hosts or more. For example, two hosts and then one radio teacher, or you could have one host and then two radio teachers. Because according again to researches, having two or more voices within a lesson, for example, here in this case on radio based instruction, it is more effective for the learners because they could hear variety of voices. Okay? They could have variety of voices because if they will only hear one voice, then they would just easily be distracted, or they would just easily get bored. That's it. So that's for the sample SOA format. And for my last slide, I have here an example of the script, though it's in Filipino, but I will show you some of the parts here. And the title header, we have the title. That's the title of your program. Okay. For example, School on the Air on grade 7 English, for example. And then the topic, for example, is, let's say, verbals. Then the format is a School on the Air. The length would be 30 minutes, or you could even decrease it depending on you as a script writer. Then you put the name of the script writer below. There you can see Professor Mark Lester M. Chico, one of our brilliant speakers before, and then your objective for that particular lesson. That objective you could get at your module or at your lesson plan if you have. And then the parts, that's it. From on the left, you could see the line numbers. That is for easier readability and for easier directing. Then on the right side, you could see the copy block and the source of sound column. You could see their business, insert program ID, then music up, then this on the second line, music up for 5 seconds and fade under. You could do that to make sure that there will be a background music within the program. And then the host, it's very important that you should label who will be the speaker. And then again, music up for 3 seconds and under, and then so on. So that's it for, I think, for the radio based instruction. If you have, should you have any questions, my fellow educators, we will be addressing those in the question and answer portion. And here are my references from Professor Mark Lester M. Chico, Professor Benjamina Paula G. Flor, and Professor Trina Leia T. Mendoza from the University of the Philippines, Las Bañas. So once again, thank you for listening. Good day again, once again, everyone. And I'll see you again later for our question and answer portion.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Julianne and Villanueva, for that very informative, okay, new knowledge. Okay, here in our area, we don't have the radio-based instruction, but with your lectures and this discussion, what you have shared, it's very interesting. Okay,
Thank you, Ma'am
so
Anne.
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, madam. Let me have a recap first uh, with your lessons, and I know our participants also have their own notes. Okay, with your lessons, with the lessons that you have shared. Okay, the radio-based instruction or the school on the air, you have shared I mean, you have shared many tips, okay, to be effective, the format, okay. So one idea, I mean, one tip that that I jot down is that radio teachers need not to be like a professional radio broadcaster like Kuya Kim, I mean like Noli de Castro
Yes, ma'am,
or
right.
any Ted Filon like that, okay? Those professional TV hosts like that. We don't need to be like them. We just need to have a good voice quality. We have to have a good, proper breathing. We have to have a good posture, proper articulation, projection, and delivery. Okay? So it's easy to become a radio teacher.
Yes, ma'am. All of us could actually
I think
qualify for
so,
it.
yes. Yes, you also shared about the characteristics of a good speaking voice, such as intonation, wide range of pitch, different degrees of loudness, appropriate pauses, pleasant quality. Okay? You also shared to be an effective RBI and SOA teacher. You also shared basic principles of radio script writing, such as number one, to be brief, personalize it, be clear and concise, and be informal and cover conversational. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The last thing you also shared about the RBI and SOA format. And lastly, that I've taken note is having two or more hosts would be effective to the learners
Yes,
using
ma'am,
the
indeed.
Articulation. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for that very informative, okay, lesson. I know that all the participants learned a lot from you. We will get back to you later, ma'am, on the question and
Yes,
answer
ma'am. Thank you so
portion.
much, Ma'am Anne.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, dear participants, now we time for the quiz competition. Log on to slido.com and input the code IGP quiz. Now 81 participants. Okay, dear participants, log on to www.slido.com and input the code capital IGP quiz. So you too can have and claim, can have the certificate for the top 10 winners. Okay, it's fun. Okay, join our quiz competition. The winners, the winner will be announced later, okay? The fastest who can click on the answer is the winners, are the winners, I should say. Okay, it's fun to join this type of quiz. Dear participants, again, join our quiz competition. Just log on to www.slido.com and the code is RGP quiz, all in capital letters. The link is in the comment box section below. Okay, just click. Okay, we have now 145 participants who are joining the quiz competition. Okay, who will be the top 10 for tonight's quiz? I'm also excited. Okay, we have now. Okay, we would like to acknowledge Madam Rosella, Tika Basag, Madam Glenda, Madam Thelma, Madam Joy, Madam Rosalind, Madam Johanna, Madam Grace, Lynn Ruiz, Madam Karen Ross, Madam Erlinda, joining in our quiz competition. Okay. Okay, we have 197 participants. Okay, I think everybody's joining. I think everyone is now ready for the question number one. Okay, we have now 197 participants joining the quiz competition. Again, log on to www.slido.com and the code is capital IGP quiz. Okay, number one question. This serves as the first preliminary page of the learning resource with no page number. Is it title page or typography? And the answer is okay, title page. Number two question. Okay, it is the second preliminary page of the learning resource with no page number. Is it Body Matters introductory message? And the answer is introductory message. Okay, Mom Lizelle is on the top one. Okay, the third question. Red, green, and blue RGB are values for computer monitor displays layouting. Is it true or false? Red, green, and blue or RGB are values of computer monitor display or the layouting. Is it true or false? True, 87% got the correct answer. The specified color for senior high school is brown. Is it yes or no? And the answer is no. 55% of the participants got it correctly. Our number five question. Okay, okay. The fifth question, pages should end with hyphenated word. Is it true or false? Okay, the answer is false. 67% of the participants got it correctly. Okay, Jo Marie. So Jo Marie is on the top one. Okay, slouching is a good example of proper posture in recording a reading an RBI. Is it true or false? Okay, the answer is false. 76% of the participants got it correctly. And who's on the top one? Okay, still Sir Jo Marie. Number seven question. The ability of the voice to change from a falling, rising, or complex intonation is a characteristic of a good speaking voice. Is it true or false? Okay. The answer is true, and 98% of the participants got it correctly. Okay, still on the top one. Geometry. Okay, number eight question. Having a wide range of pitch is the ability of the person voice to modulate and assume a high or low pitch. Is it true or false? Okay, the answer is true. 95% of the participants got it correctly. Still, okay. Number nine question. Too much loudness of voice is preferable in recording. Radio based instruction. Is it true or false? Okay. And the answer is okay. Number 10 question. In the delivery of radio based instruction, varying one's voice from the normal speaking voice will only bring confusion to the learners. True or false? Okay. 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 Again, that is the last question for tonight's quiz competition. Okay, and the answer is false. 62% of our participants got it correctly. And on the top five, okay, it is in your screen. Congratulations, the quiz competition winners, top 10. Okay, here's the updated. Sergio Marie Canoy, Ardeline Magbanwa, Nelly Perez Cuzo. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Number four. Okay, I can see it. Okay, the band. Okay, number four, Bliss. Bliss. Palma, Christelle Andula, and at the fifth place, Eileen. Quebec on the sixth place, Donna Rose Molo on the seventh and eighth, Romel Aquino. Number nine is Marites Rivera, and number 10, Ma'am Jeneline De La Cruz. Congratulations again to our top 10 quiz competition winners. Your certificate will be posted on our website at www.eduigp.com. Okay, thank you so much, dear participants. You can, for those who did not make it on the top 10, more quiz will be coming because more webinars will be coming. Okay, let us now call on. I'll go back to our quiz question and answer portion. Let's call on our two lovely speakers. Okay, welcome back again, Madam Julian and Madam Grace. Dear participants, you can type your questions in the comment section below, and our dear participants will answer all your queries. Okay, address the speaker you would want to answer your questions. Okay, dear participants, we encourage you to ask questions. Okay. Oh, we have first question from Madam Manolita Ramos Oligo. First speaker. So that is you, Madam Grace. What do you think are effective learning resources?
Okay. Hello, good evening. I think the effective learning resource, all learning resources are effective, but we need to, if you're going to make a learning resource, we need to, of course, the concern of our learners' needs, interest, and of course, the level of our learners. We need to give learning resources appropriate to the level of our learners. Okay,
Okay,
that's
we
all, ma'am.
hope we thank you so much, Madam Grace. We hope Madam Manolita to answer your question. Okay, Madam Melvin Guerrero. Mom Grace, what color is proper for senior high school ACAD?
Okay, good evening, ma'am Melvin. The proper color for senior high school ACAD is black. That is the specified color for senior high school.
Thank you so much, Madam Grace, Madam Melvin. We hope we answer your question. Okay, Madam Grace, good evening. That is the standard for DepEd. Is it necessary for private institutions like ours that is from I am Sherwin Limpag Tagboy. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. As private institution, I think private institution have their own guidelines, but they can also use the DepEd memorandum or guidelines in developing and managing ADM modules for their format.
Thank you so much, Madam Grace. I think Sir Sherwin, we, we hope Sir Sherwin we answer your question. Okay. Okay, any more question? Okay, from Jing Nomo to Madam Grace, how are modules validated in depth ed?
Okay, modules are validated in DepEd because here in the Philippines, we have what we call the development team, the quality assurance team, in which they are going to assess and evaluate the learning resources before they are going to move in our department, before it will be published. So there is a certain team who will validate the learning resources.
Okay, thank you so much again, Madam Grace. I think we answer your question, Madam or Sir Jean. No, okay. Again from Sir Sherwin, Madam Julie, and good evening. Can we consider our math class through radio class? Would it not compromise process?
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Anne. Thank you, Sir Sherwin, for that question. So, regarding your query about math class through radio class, okay, this is something that I want to clarify. Here in the Department of Education, here in the Philippines, there are suggested MELC or most essential learning competencies that are only applicable for TV and radio based instruction. What I'm trying to say is not all competencies, not all MELCs are suited for the use of radio based instruction or the TV based lesson. On your case, sir, math, correct me if I'm wrong. I hope I could provide the material, but if you would check the DepEd Philippines, they could provide there the guide for the milks with, and then there's a column there, three columns actually, Ma'am Anne, ano po. There are three columns there. The first column is for TV, then radio is the second column, and then the third column is both. Then on the left side, you could see there the certain milk, and then the milk, and then if there's a check on the radio based instruction, then it means that that competency is good for RBI. And then if it's a check for TV, then it's only intended for TV. And then if both, you could use it for both TV and radio. Now, on the case of math, for example, in junior high school, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't see any mathematics competency that is suitable for radio based instruction. Since I think it's not really suitable for radio based instruction, because I'm actually wondering how could you possibly transform a module with algebra, with geometry into an RBI, radio based instruction? I think that's very hard to do. Well, if you would be creative enough and innovative enough as a teacher, it's possible. It's actually possible, but I don't think that is not suggested by DepEd. But you could still be creative and innovative, just like what I said. Thank you. I hope you answered. I hope I was able to answer that question po.
Yes. Okay, very clear. Okay, thank you so much, Madam Julian. Okay, from Sir Davidson Marquez, Madam Julian, again, can we say that this radio-based approach can just be applicable in all far-flung area that internet access does not exist?
Okay. Thank you, Sir Davidson. Good evening, sir. Well, regarding your question, I would just like to clarify that yes, radio based instruction or radio based approach can be used even in both urban or rural areas. But to say that it's only applicable in all far flung areas only, that is actually wrong. In here in the different contexts, I think my fellow educators would agree on me on this. Actually, it's not only applicable for far-flung areas without internet access. Even on our case in Lipay National High School, we don't only cater students in far-flung areas, but even to those already in the central sa poblasyon, in poblasyon. And it's possible actually, both in far-flung in urban or rural areas. It's possible as long as you will have the frequency that would be available for them, because in far-flung areas the type of radio based approach that they are using is the use of two-way radio, the walkie-talkie. They could
Right.
use that. But just to clarify, it could be used both, either in far-flung or either in non-far-flung areas, as long as you will implement the type of blended learning. It's possible.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Julian. I hope we answer your questions, Sir Davidson Marquez. Okay. From Sir Francis Peter Mandak, Madam Grace, how about the standard color in sports track? Thank you.
Hello, Sir Francis. Based on the guidelines of the Department of Education, um, they don't discuss the strands about the standard color for each track in senior high school, but rather they have the specified color for senior high school is black. All track, all all tracks
Track,
in senior high
sports
school,
track.
they have to use the black color. That is the specified color for senior high school. Thank you, Sir Francis.
Okay. We hope we answer your question, Sir Francis. From Sir John Edsel Dalis, Barak. First speaker, so that's Ma'am Grace. Does color coding matter?
Hello, Sir Jan. Yes, the color coding matters. That is why learning area has each learning area has a specific color for each learning area. Just like in English, they have to use the light blue color, then Araling Panlipunan red. So color coding matters.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Grace. I hope, Sir John, we answer your question. Okay, from Marlo Joy, Madam Marlo. Good evening, Ma'am Grace. What is the advantage of RBI? RBI, I think that is the question to Ma'am Julian. Okay, what is the advantage of RBI considering the more advanced technologies we currently have?
Okay.
Ma'am,
So your question.
okay,
Yes, ma'am.
sige.
Okay po. That
Go
is
ahead,
coming from thank you po,
Ma'am
from Mom
Marlo.
Marlo, right po? Yes po. What is the advantage of using radio-based instruction considering that we have more advanced technologies we currently have? Well, advantage, it could be an advantage, most especially for students who really don't have access for internet, right? For example, in far-flung areas, as mentioned by one of the questions a while back. So it's more advantageous for them to use RBI because it doesn't use any internet. You only need a radio, your device, and then the certain frequency. Then you could already be connected or subscribe to that program. Okay, that is the advantage. But if the disadvantage of this is that, yes, I have mentioned this a while ago, that they could not see you. There are no moving pictures, moving images that they could see. So it could make them more boring. But if you want to use more advanced technologies and you believe that your learners could have an access to it, for example, DepEd TV in our case here in the Philippines via YouTube or TV itself, television, then you could do that. So we have to consider again, what we have to consider is the type of learners we have.
Okay, very well said, Madam. Thank you so much. Okay, Ma'am Julie, what is the prescribed scope, range of area that a school radio should have? That is from Ma'am Melvin Guerrero. Ma'am Juliet?
Okay, ma'am. So this question, actually, I'll be honest with you, my fellow educators. I'm not actually, how should I say this? I'm not actually oriented with the different technicalities when it comes to this, about the scope and range. This is on the technical side already of radio based instruction. Well, my the thing that we underwent into a training before, and we focus on the script writing itself, on the delivery and the projection. But when it comes to the technical side, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to share this. But I could perhaps search for it, and then I'll give an answer later on po.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Julie. So from Sir Jeffrey Salem to Ma'am Julie Ann, thus a teacher allowed to be a radio teacher without any proper training in RBI?
Okay.
Julie
Does
Ann.
a teacher allow okay, is the teacher allowed to be a radio teacher without any proper training in RBI? Okay. I think this is pretty much applicable to any aspect of being a teacher. We cannot undergo into something, into a particular activity without being capacitated or without having the proper training. That's a very essential aspect of whatever activity you should do as an educator. You should be capacitated. Well, how do we do this? You could have school-based trainings, you could have division-based trainings, or even national trainings if you have. And it's really an important part before conducting any radio-based instruction in order not to have misconceptions on the delivery of the lesson.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma'am Julie. Thank you so much, Madam Grace. With those question and answer portion, the ideas, the blurred areas on the part of the participants are now clearer. Okay, and the information are now more clear. Okay, to our participants. Again, this is not our last webinar that we will see each other. Madam Grace, Madam Julie Ann, thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you, ma'am,
from
and
Team
thank you,
IGP. Thank
Institute
you
of
so
Global
much. See you
Professionals. Thank
again.
you.
Yes, ma'am. Dear
Thank you,
participants,
IGP.
okay, important
Advance Merry
announcement.
Christmas.
Based on huge requests from our learners, we will open our diploma certificate application form for just one day on November 15. So in between time, please collect 130 certificates for reference and make a document or PDF file in advance that on the said date you can submit the form easily. International Diploma Certificate. Okay? So collect now all the 130 certificates, dear participants, and make a document and or PDF file so you can submit it easily on the said date. Okay? Certification process will be announced after for a short while, for a while. Okay. Okay, please note the certification process, daily hour certificate details, lifetime membership certificate, only one in every session. Okay, that is already announced earlier. We have one lifetime membership. Quiz completion certificates only for the top 10 winners in every session. You can join every webinar. We have quiz. Free international webinar certificates for all active participants. Okay, these webinar certificates, the certification process will be discussed later. There is no relation between quiz completion certificates and international webinar certificates and webinar series certificates. That is three different things. Quiz certificates for top 10 quiz completion winners only. International webinar certificates for all active participants. Again, those the certificate for international certificate will be announced later. The process of certification of the e-certificate will be announced later. Okay, we have announcement. We have a free international webinar daily. That is every 6 p.m. Bangladesh Standard Time. That is 8 o'clock in the Philippines. And on the other parts of the world, just visit our website www.eduigp.com. All the webinars, free international webinars are posted there. Okay, enroll now and and set your reminders so that you will get a notification bell on your Facebook account so that every day you can attend our free webinars. And every day you can also have an e-certificate. Okay? Global bonus with regular webinar. Along with our regular webinars, we have also added webinars on every weekend, Sunday. Is morning session on the month of November. Okay, that is finished. From November morning session date, we have the four Sunday morning session, November 7, November 14, November 21, November 28, that is 9:30 a.m. Bangladesh time. Okay, I know many of our participants participated in this webinar, morning session, and I also participated in this webinar. Okay, we have more triple bonus announcement starting from October. We have webinar series program. You will get individual certificate for each webinar, and after submitting all certificates, you will receive a webinar series certificate. It is highly focused on teaching strategies, research assessment, pedagogy, tools and techniques, professional development, communication skills, and I know many participants, many of our members, avid followers have been attending these webinars. Okay, that is done already. Our first webinar series program with the 5 parts with the topic authentic assessment and teaching and learning are done. Okay, who attended these webinars. Part 1 was on October 1, Part 2 was on October 4, Part 3 was on October 7, Part 4 was on October 10, Part 5 was on October 26. Okay. Apart from the certificates for each day, you will have a one certificate for the whole series. Okay, our second webinar series program has 4 parts. It is also finished. The topic was on teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. Part 1 was on October 2, Part 2 was on October 6, Part 3 was on October 20, Part 4 was on October 24. Okay, again, a certificate for each part was given, and if you completed those 4 parts for webinar series, you will get a certificate for the whole seminar. Our third webinar series program has 6 parts. Okay, this was the time when there was an electric problem in Bangladesh, and the webinars was rescheduled in on December. Topic was digital classroom engagement tools. Part 1 was finished last October 11. Part 2 last October 12, and the part 3 will be on December 3. Part 4 will be on December 5. Part 5 will be on December 10. Part 6 will be on December 18. Okay. Set now your phone. Set your reminders so you can attend on this webinar series. Our fourth webinar series program has 5 parts. The topic is the new trends in education. Okay, this is the part 1 today. Part 2 will be on November 7th. Part 3 will be on November 12th. Part 4 will be on November 20th. Part 5 will be on November 28th. Okay, more webinar series are coming. Okay, our fifth webinar series program. It has 5 parts. The topic is organizational leadership and managerial skills. Part 1 will be on November 8th, Part 2 will be on November 15th, Part 3 will be on November 22, Part 4 will be on November 25. Part 5 will be on November 30. Okay, our sixth webinar series program has 5 parts also. The topic is Trends in Innovation in Mathematics Education. Part 1 will be on December 12, Part 2 will be on December 13, Part 3 will be on December 14, Part 4 will be on December 15, Part 5 will be on December 16. Again, set your reminders. Enroll our webinars. Webinar series certificate. For webinar series certificate, you have to attend all the parts of the series. Okay. Okay, here's now the certification process. Step by step. Important note, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. So what are you waiting for, dear participants? Register and have an account. Just visit our website www.eduigp.com. You can join our all live programs from Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube channel, website. Okay, if anyone missed any program due to some unavoidable issues, still you can attend previous webinars with verified certificates. Without an account on our website, again, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. Make sure to have an account. Important announcement. Based on huge requests from our learners, we will open our diploma certificate application form for just one day on November 15. So in between time, please collect 130 certificates for reference and make a document or PDF file in advance that on the set date you can submit the form easily. That is an international diploma certificate. Okay, step 1 for today's certification process. Our topic title for today's program is Teaching Strategies in the New Normal. Look for the title. Okay, step 2 for today's certificate process. Certification link is now available in the comment box and pinned comment. Certification link will be available always in this program post, Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube. Okay, again, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. Create an account, okay, the certification process. You can claim your certificate in 2 ways. Direct link from comment box, pinned comment, post description, or if you are not able to click this link, please directly browse our website at www.eduigp.com for all information together. Find today's program title, okay, and then the process are the same. Again, our today's topic is teaching strategies in the new normal. Okay, the third step in today's certification process. Browse our website www.eduigp.com or the given link below. You will redirect in this page of our website. As you can see in your screen, okay, there is the title of our webinar. Okay, click enroll now. And then if you are new, create your account. If you have an account, then log in directly. After that, find the seminar title. The seminar title is Teaching Strategies in the New Normal. Find and get enrolled. Okay, as you can see in your screen, create an account and then log in. Important note, without an account again on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. Okay, wait. Our code for tonight's webinar is IGP1516. Again, this is step 4 on today's certification process. Certificate code is required. Without code, no one is eligible for certificates. With code, you can claim your certificates anytime. Okay? You can screenshot or take note on our code for tonight's webinar. Again, it is capital IGP 1516. Okay? You can screenshot or you can jot down the code for tonight's webinar. Today's program name again is Teaching Strategies in the New Normal. Okay, more announcements for upcoming webinars. Thank you, certificate downloaded from Mom Melvin. Thank you, Mom Melvin. Okay, from Madam Megan. Thank you, RGP. Okay, there you go in your screen. With code, click Get Your Certificate. Okay, type your certificate code on the blank space and then click Get Your Certificate. Thank you so much again, IGP from Ma'am Crystal de la Cruz. Okay, thank you, dear participants. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, our RGP, our code for today's webinar is IGP 1516. As you can see in your screen, a example of certificate of participation. Your certificate is now ready. It is an ISO certified and anyone can verify your certificate with the certification verification below. Okay. Thank you so much, dear participants. Important note, without an account, again, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. So what are you waiting for, dear participants? To our new members, new followers, please create an account. Our free international webinar certificate is auto downloadable in PDF file. You don't need to download it manually. Okay. So our milestone follower, they know what to do. Okay. What are you waiting for, dear participants? Dear participants, again, if any problem raised to claim your certificates or any other issues, please don't hesitate to contact us. We have our team IGP members, okay, who would love to answer your queries. Just leave your comment on our website. Okay, at www.eduigp.com. Our core team members are always ready in comment section to support you to find solutions. Okay, we are very willing to help you to our newly participants. IGP Community Facilitating Officials. On the Facebook page, we have Ma'am Charis Abejo Caberos and Madam Janet Cablao. Okay, those are the people who are willing to answer. From Facebook group, we have Sherilyn Yamaguchi, Sir Jonas Malingen, Sir Alonso Warren Carriaga. They are the one willing to help you with your queries. Okay, on the YouTube channel, we have Sir Kelvin Linato, Joel Danog, Sir Jeffrey Saya. They are willing to help you, dear participants. Okay, we have here our upcoming webinar tomorrow evening session. with the topic Educational Engagement with Brain Boosting. We have a speaker from India. More upcoming webinars. November 3, still on the evening session with the topic Digital Classroom with Canva. We have a speaker from Philippines. Another upcoming webinars on November 4, still on the evening session with the topic Importance of a Student's Motivation and E-Learning. We have a speaker from Malaysia. On November 5, Principles of Becoming a Leader. November we have speakers from South Africa and Mexico. Okay, on November 6th, still at the evening session, a speaker from Philippines with the topic Transcending Optimism in School Management. Another upcoming webinars on November 7th. Oh, this is Sunday morning session. We have a speaker from Philippines delivering digital classroom through ClassPoint. Okay. Evening session on November 7, we have the second part or the part 2 of the webinar series with the topic The New Trends in Education and with the topic Multiple Teaching Instruction and Modalities. We have the speakers from the Philippines. Okay, we have an upcoming webinar on November 8th. This is the first part of the webinar series. It has 5 parts. Okay, topic title of the seminar is Webinar Series Upskilling Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills. Topic is the role of SBM in a school improvement plan. We have a speaker from Philippines. Okay, we have another upcoming webinar on November 9. Topic Educational Action Research. Speaker is from the Philippines. Another upcoming webinar on November 11. Supply Chain Management for the Educational Organization. We have a speaker from Indonesia. Okay, on November 13, we have the topic Personality Development and Communication Skills. We have the speaker from India. Okay, another upcoming webinar, November 14, Identify Learners' Needs with Art of Teaching. We have a speaker from Sri Lanka. Another upcoming webinar on November 14, Ethics and Principles of Communication. We have a speaker from Philippines. Okay, we have here another webinar series, the part 2 of the webinar series with the title Upskilling Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills. Topic for that part 2 is the collaboration, extension, and linkages. We have the speaker from Philippines. Okay, another upcoming webinar on November 16. Expanding your virtual classroom with Google Workspace. We have speakers from the Philippines. Okay, another upcoming webinar on November 17. Developing SIM and technique using modular and digital lessons. We have speakers from the Philippines. Okay, we have another topic. Upcoming webinar on November 18 is Statistics and Probability. We have speakers from the Philippines. Okay, upcoming webinar on November 19, Integration of Gender and Development, or the God in Teaching. We have a speaker from the Philippines. Another upcoming webinar on November 21, Comics, Linguistics, and Visual Language, the Past and Future of a Film. We have a speaker from India. That is a morning session, dear participants. Okay, on the evening session on November 21, we have Gmail productivity hacks, thinking outside the inbox. Okay, we have a speaker from the Philippines. Again, we have here upcoming webinar on November 22. That is the part 3 of the webinar series with the topic Webinar Series Upskilling Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills. Lesson Project Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation. We have a speaker from Philippines. Okay, upcoming webinar on November 23, Blended Pedagogy. We have a speaker from India. Another upcoming webinar on November 24, Teaching Linguistics to Literary Teachers. We have a speaker from India. Another upcoming webinar on November 25. This is the part 4 of the webinar series with the topic of Scaling Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills. What lesson? Coaching, mentoring, and feedbacking. We have a speaker from the Philippines. Okay, another upcoming webinar on November 26. We have the topic Google Drive Organization and Management. We have a speaker from the Philippines. We have a upcoming webinar on November 27. Project VIDA, Values Integration through Digital Arts. Oh, that is VIDA. We have a speaker from the Philippines. Another upcoming webinar on November 28, Role of Soft Skills in Effective Classroom Management. We have speaker from India. Okay, November 29 with the topic ICT and Social Studies Classroom. We have a speaker from the Philippines. Okay, another upcoming webinar on November 30. This is the part 5 of the webinar series Upskilling Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills with the topic overview. Okay, all the speakers will be there. So all the questions that you have, okay, they will answer all your questions on the last day of the webinar series. Okay. Okay, December webinars. Okay. Again, reminders. Our today's program is Pitching Strategies in the New Normal with the code capital IGP 1516. Without code, no one is eligible for certificate. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime. Okay, what are you waiting for, dear participants? New participants. Okay, new member. Please create an account with IGP. Just visit our website www.eduigp.com. Okay, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. Again, Dear knowledge seeker, Team IGP and I would like to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for attending today's session. Hopefully, you learned something new that you will use in your career and in your life. Please leave a review, a recommendation on our page at www.eduigp.com if you learned something or we help you a little bit. Don't forget to collect your e-certificates, okay? And give a check in with IGP. Please spread the information with your friends and community. We hope to see you again in the next webinar. Stay happy, stay safe, okay? Stay healthy. To God be all the glory. Good night. Bye bye.